The temple was alive with the scent of jasmine, sandalwood, and incense. Bells rhymed harmoniously with ancient chants that echoed through the stone corridors. Among the crowd stood Meghana, a young woman in her late 20s. Her long, glossy black hair was tied in a thick braid that reached the small of her back. She had come to Tirutani, one of Lord Murugan's 6 abodes, with a vow that weighed heavier than her hair. A year ago, her mother had fallen critically ill, and Meghana had prayed for her recovery, promising to offer her hair. Her mother now stood beside her, frail but alive, holding her daughter's hand tightly as they approached the temple tonsure area. Meghana could feel her heart pounding not from fear, but a mix of reverence, emotion, and surrender. The tonsure lady, wearing a faded sari and a gentle smile, gestured to the stone platform. Meghana knelt, folding her hands in prayer one last time. Her mother loosened the braid, fingers trembling, and spread Meghana's hair across her shoulders. With a swift hum of the razor, the first lock fell, thick, black, and glinting in the sunlight. Meghana closed her eyes. Each stroke of the razor was oddly calming, like a purification. The crowd's murmurs faded into silence as Meghana sat still, surrendering herself completely. Hair slid down her shoulders, landing like fallen petals. Within minutes, her head was bare, save for a soft shadow of stubble. She stood up slowly, eyes shimmering with unspoken emotion. Meghana felt lighter, not just physically, but spiritually. The weight of vanity, fear, and attachment had all been lifted with her hair. That day, she wasn't just a devotee. She was a woman reborn. The early evening sun cast a golden hue over the temple courtyard as Meghana stepped out, the breeze brushing against her freshly shaven scalp. For a moment, she hesitated. The world looked the same, yet she felt completely different. A strange mix of vulnerability and strength radiated from her. As they descended the temple steps, pilgrims turned to look. Some smiled with admiration, others offered respectful nods. Her mother walked beside her, proud, her hands folded in silent gratitude. Back at the lodging, Meghana stood before the mirror. She touched her bare head gently, turning side to side. The reflection staring back at her wasn't just different, it was raw, honest, and powerful. She had shed more than hair. She had let go of fear, ego, and everything that held her back. When she returned to Bengaluru a week later, colleagues and friends were stunned. A few were curious, others tried to hide their surprise. But Meghana met every glance with a quiet smile. She didn't feel the need to explain herself. Soon, word spread. She tonsured her head at the temple. Some called it brave, others called it extreme. But Meghana didn't mind. She had started to embrace minimalism, mindfulness, and deeper spirituality. The daily rush of life no longer drowned her inner voice. She began volunteering at a cancer care center, where women facing chemotherapy found strength in seeing someone like Meghana, unashamed, radiant, and serene with a shaven head. One day, a little girl there, thin, wide-eyed, and shy, looked up and asked, "Are you a monk?" Meghana knelt and smiled. "No, sweetheart. Just someone who learned how beautiful letting go can be." It was the start of the Adi month, and Tirutani temple was once again bustling with pilgrims. Among them was a woman with a quiet determination, Vaishnavi, a corporate lawyer from Chennai, known for her poise, elegance, and flowing hair that had become her signature look. But today, she had tied it up in a simple bun. No makeup, no jewelry, just silence and a heart full of emotion. A year ago, her marriage had crumbled. Her world, once pristine and structured, had fallen apart. She had turned to prayer, promising Lord Murugan that if she found peace and purpose again, she would surrender her hair at his feet. And now, that day had come. As she stepped into the tonsure area, she noticed another woman already kneeling. Her head bowed in prayer, scalp completely bald, face glowing with a strange serenity. It was Meghana. Their eyes met for a brief moment. A silent nod passed between them, a recognition of courage. Vaishnavi took her place on the stone, untying the bun with slightly trembling fingers. Her thick, brownish-black hair fell freely around her shoulders. The barber, the same gentle woman from Meghana's day, began her work. The first long strand slid down Vaishnavi's shoulder, and tears welled in her eyes. But not from sorrow, from relief. Lock after lock fell away, each one like a chain snapping loose. Meghana, still seated nearby, watched with quiet admiration. She remembered that feeling, That catharsis. When it was done, Vaishnavi stood, running her fingers over her smooth scalp, a smile forming through tears. Meghana approached and offered a soft towel. You did it, she said warmly. So did you, Vaishnavi replied. Thank you, for being here. They sat together on the temple steps afterward barefoot, drinking warm spiced tea, watching the sunset over the hills. It was the beginning of a bond forged not by history but by transformation. Weeks passed since her tonsure at Tirutani, but the connection between Meghana and Vaishnavi only deepened. They spoke often, voice notes filled with reflections, laughter, and quiet moments of raw honesty. One day, over a long call, Meghana said, "What if we didn't stop here?" Vaishnavi paused. "I'd love that. Let's call it a walk of surrender." And so it began. Two women, bareheaded and free, dressed in simple cotton saris, with no phones except for directions and emergency calls. From Tiruchendur to Palani, Swamimalai to Pazamudarchalai, they walked, took buses, shared rides, and met strangers who became brief companions. Everywhere they went, people were drawn to them. Some saw them as saints, others as radicals. Children would stare, women would ask questions, a few even followed them to the temples, curious to know what had moved them to shave their heads and walk barefoot through Tamil Nadu's heat and dust. They never preached, they just listened. At Swamimalai, a young girl named Ravathi approached them. She was quiet at first, watching them from behind the pillars.